Today we celebrate the first Sunday of Advent. Advent is a semi-penitential time, like the season of Lent, which precedes Easter. During Advent, the Church encourages us to intensify our life of prayer, almsgiving, and fasting. When properly done, prayer, almsgiving, and fasting aids us in loving God above all else by detaching us from any excessive attachment to ourselves, to our money, and to our possessions, and to our pleasures of this earthly life. Prayer detaches us from ourselves, since when we truly pray, we acknowledge before God our Creator that we are creatures. Almsgiving detaches us from money and possessions, where we demonstrate to our neighbor in a very concrete way that we love our neighbor, and we demonstrate that by giving our neighbor something that we own to them. We become detached from it. Fasting detaches us from earthly pleasures, but deliberately saying no to a pleasure that is not even necessarily sinful. For example, eating less food than we need, or by sleeping less, by waking up late at night to spend time in a prayer vigil, and in other ways. Through the Gospel reading, Jesus cautions us from becoming overly attached to the pleasures of this world. And Jesus does so by saying, "Beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness." With these words, Jesus is not saying that enjoying the goods of life is evil. Rather, Jesus is teaching that overindulging and taking too much delight in the goods of this world is evil. For when we overindulge, we go into excess. We begin viewing the pleasurable object as our ultimate end, and only God is. All addictions are ultimately forms of idolatry, where instead of loving God above all created reality, we instead turn away from God and plunge ourselves into created reality by consuming too much alcohol, by excessively pursuing honor, and by acquiring more and more money, and by becoming self-absorbed in pleasurable experiences to the point of not caring about others, neither God nor my neighbor. All that matters when we become totally absorbed in satisfying all our immediate pleasure is ourself, me. Jesus relates these idolatrous, addictive patterns with anxiety, with a lack of peace of soul, peace of heart, and peace of mind. And this is because our hearts, souls, minds, and very bodies are only at peace when we rest in God, as St. Augustine teaches in Book 1 of his Confessions. During Advent, we are to examine our lives with the thought that if Jesus comes today or tomorrow to judge the living and the dead, will we want to leave this world behind to be taken up into his life, or will I shy away from Jesus since I am overly attached to my life, overly attached to my possessions, and to the pleasures of this world? Similarly, if I die today or tomorrow and meet Jesus, will I want to leave this world behind to be taken up into Jesus' life, or will I shy away from Jesus since I'm overly attached to my life, to my possessions, and the pleasures of this world? As we grow in being fathers and mothers, either biological or spiritual, we will become less attached to our lives. We will become less attached to our possessions. We will become less attached to the pleasures of this world. An example of this detachment from self and growth and concern for others, God and our neighbor, is evident, comments Brant Pitre, in how a mother or a father responds when their sick baby repeatedly cries out during the night. A loving mother and father will wake up and quickly attend to the needs of their sick baby. By interrupting their sleep and getting out of bed, the mother and father is saying no to the pleasure of sleep and saying yes to the love of their sick baby. This is at the basis of the practice of night vigils, where people will, and often monks and religious and priests and sisters will wake up late at night to pray to God and pray for their brothers and sisters who are in need. By so doing, we are saying no even to the pleasure of sleep. We are detaching ourselves from our essential need for sleep. We sacrifice it out of love of God and neighbor, and is a way, among many others, of growing in the life of Jesus as loving fathers and mothers to one another. God bless and happy Advent.